I'm Crystal Hayes, and I'm the Clinical Nutrition Manager here at the hospital. I've been in this position a little over 5 years now. Been a dietitian for about 20, so have lots of experience. I started out here many years ago when I first became a dietitian, left and worked in a dialysis unit for 10 years, came back, so I've been here about 5 years. So most people, you know, they want to meet with a dietitian and they want something really quick, fast, and in a hurry to kind of give you an overview of what should I do. You know, we're all bombarded with tons of nutrition information, you know, out in the public. Every day you can pick up a newspaper, you can look on the internet, and you see so much information. Some of it's true, some of it's not. And so what I wanted to do today is just kind of give you the 10 best tips that me as a dietitian, if I were, you know, trying to give you quick, low down and dirty, kind of what to know, these are going to be the 10 most important things that you can remember. Okay?
I left my pencil and paper in my car. Can I take a picture?
Oh, yeah, that's fine with me.
All right.
Okay, so the first thing that I would say is make sure you eat more whole plants. Okay, so that's going to be when you look at a plate, you know, the government came up, you know, we had the pyramid, you know, the food guide pyramid many years ago. Well, it was really confusing when you looked at that, so the government went to the My Plate. And it is basically a round plate, and it's for you to look at it and know kind of how to fill your plate to have a well-balanced meal. So you want to fill at least 3/4 of your plate with plant foods. Now, sometimes people will think plant foods, is that just fruits and vegetables? No, whole grains are going to be plant foods as well. So you want 3/4 of your plate to be filled with those plant foods. You want fruits, which are going to be fresh or frozen is the best. Vegetables, fresh or frozen. Don't add fat and don't fry those vegetables. You know, steaming it, grilling vegetables, you know, doing other things to cook it or eating raw vegetables are, you know, going to be your best choice. But not frying. You know, we live in the South where right now the fried okra, the fried green tomatoes, the fried squash, all that stuff is, you know, kind of what everybody wants to eat during the summer. Whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, even corn is considered a grain. Okay, so those things are going to be good. Beans and lentils, so those are also considered whole plants. So you want to eat more of those. You want to combine your foods. You know, sometimes we like to get on a fad, let's say a low carbohydrate fad, for example. And so what we'll do is eat tons of protein, so where you'll just eat protein at a meal. And that's not good for your metabolism. Combining your foods, when you have a meal, when you have a snack, you want to have a carbohydrate and a protein together because it works with your metabolism. And it helps you, the protein's going to help keep you from getting hungry, and the carbohydrate's going to give you that energy that you need to get through your day. So every time that you plan a meal or a snack, you want to make sure that you've got a carbohydrate and a protein included. So don't eliminate food groups. Same thing with a snack, you know, you want to choose 2 hearty and satisfying snacks. So for example, peanut butter and crackers. The peanut butter being the protein and the crackers being the carbohydrate. Make sense?
Is there any kind of peanut butter better than the other?
You know, there's really not. Peanut butter is higher in fat, and so you want to limit your serving size of it. You know, you don't want to eat a half a jar of peanut butter. But if you're having about 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, that's considered a serving. And that's quite a bit. I mean, 3 tablespoons of peanut butter is a lot.
Is that on the jar?
The what?
A certain
No.
size, yeah.
It's going to tell you how many calories and fat is in probably a teaspoon, or usually it'll list it as an ounce. I want to say it's an ounce. So that's what's going to be on the, but to be a serving size to count as a protein, it's 3 tablespoons of peanut butter.
So it's safe to go with the serving size.
Oh yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
I'd eat the whole jar.
That's the problem. Okay, you want to choose lean meats and non-meat protein sources. You know, chicken, fish, and turkey, of course, are going to be your lean meats, and you want to choose those more often. It is okay to eat red meats, just don't choose them as often. When you do eat red meats, you want to choose a lean cut. You think about when you go to the grocery store and if you're looking for a steak, like a ribeye, Most people choose it based on the marbling. The more marbling, the more fat and the more tender the steak will be. But it's also not as healthy for you. So you want to choose those steaks that have, like a New York strip is a better cut. It has less marbling in it. If you cook it correctly, it can still be just as tender and flavorful, but it does not have as much fat in it as that ribeye does. You know, that's got the, think about a ribeye, got that good visible fat that you can see on it.
Think about pork tenderloin, because when you get it in there.
Yes, it is pork tenderloin, fresh pork. Sometimes I don't say pork a lot just because most people think bacon and sausage or ham when you say pork, but yes, fresh pork tenderloin, fresh pork chops, those things are all okay too. You know, and they are a very lower fat than red meat. So you want to choose meats, like we said, that have the less marbling. Eggs are also a great source of protein. They also have those good essential fatty acids in it. You know, years ago, the American Heart Association came out and said eggs were bad for you. You should not eat eggs. Well, now they have come off of that and decided, okay, eggs weren't as bad as we thought they were. They do have cholesterol in it, but all meat has cholesterol in it. But the benefits and it outweighs the bad part of the egg. So used to they'd say you could eat 3 egg yolks a week. They don't say that anymore. You can have an egg yolk every day now, and it's still considered healthy and it's good for you because it is a good source of fat. It's got those, you know, essential fatty acids that are good for you. So an egg every day is fine now. Now that doesn't mean to go eat a carton of eggs every day, but 1 egg every day is fine, or 1 egg yolk. You can have all the egg whites. The egg whites don't have any, you know, they're just a protein. So you want to bake, broil, or grill your meats. You want to avoid frying your meats and remove any, you know, visible skin. So if you're eating chicken and turkey, don't have that skin on there. If you cook it with a skin on there, take it off before you eat it. Don't eat that skin. So same thing like fried chicken. We don't need to fry our meats, but if you do, at least peel that fried chicken skin off and just eat, you know, the meat in there, not the skin. I know it's what everybody likes. It's the best part of the chicken. So. Make 1 day a week a meatless day and utilize non-meat sources such as eggs, beans, tofu. You know, there was a big move a while back. It's like Meatless Monday. And so we do that at my house. We do Meatless Monday. So on Monday we have no meat, but we'll have, you know, vegetables, we'll have beans, or we do breakfast, you know, not bacon and sausage, but eggs or omelets, something like that. So it's pretty easy to do. There's a lot of really good recipes. Those black bean burgers that you can buy, they're a frozen black bean burger. I make quesadillas out of those. And for months and months, my kids had no clue that they were eating like black bean burgers, or that they were not eating a quesadilla that had no meat in it. They thought it was meat. So there's lots of recipes and ways that you can do things like that if you get online that are really easy to make and do. And like I say, you can trick. I mean, I tricked a 16-year-old, so it's pretty easy, and they're pretty picky. So you want to plan and prepare your meals ahead of time. I know we are all busy, and when you work and you have to go home and run kids' places or grandkids, or you have elderly parents you have to take care of, we're so busy that a lot of times it's just easier, we feel, to run through a drive-thru and get something to eat. But if you have planned out your meals, and even like lunches that you bring, if you bring a lunch, but if you plan out a week at a time what you're going to do, it makes it much easier to stick to a healthier diet. It takes a lot of planning, because how many do you go home and it's, what are we going to have for dinner? You know, and everybody wants to know, what are we having for dinner? And I don't know, so we just go get something quick, or we do those things. So plan your menus out a week ahead and grocery shop according to that. I make out a weekly menu. Here's what we're having for the week. And I make my grocery list off that, and that's all I buy. So there is no other stuff in the house, but that's what we're going to do. And it doesn't have to mean, okay, if I have tacos listed on Monday, but come Monday we really didn't want tacos, but on Thursday we were having spaghetti. Well, we can have spaghetti on Monday. So I don't stick to the day, but you know, I have 7 meals planned out, and here's our 7 meals for the week. And it does take out a lot of, you know, that extra think work if it's there and you know what you have. So planning, lots of pre-planning. Take 3 or 4 hours out of one day to prepare several meals for the week. Freezer meals, things that you can do in the crock pot. You know, Saturday afternoons, if you do your grocery shopping and come in and get everything cut up and ready, individual Ziploc bags. You can throw things in the freezer. You know, even cooking like a lasagna or something that you can go on and cook, or even have it made up and ready to go in the oven a couple of days later. So prepare and do as much as you can ahead of time. Utilize a slow cooker to prepare meals. There's a lot of things that you can do. There are a ton of healthy slow cooker meal recipes that you can Google and find that are really good. You can do just about anything under the sun in a slow cooker. So look for those and try to do that, because it makes it really easy to go home, and if dinner is ready, all you gotta do is take that lid off that crock pot and serve it up. It's always easy to add things like side items to those, side salads, things like that, you know, are real good ways to help round out a meal that you've cooked in a crock pot. You want to develop a book of your favorite recipes that you already have tested and know. Don't try to test out new recipes in the middle of the week. You know, you come home on a Monday night and you're tired and you already don't know what you're going to cook, and so you decide to try out some recipe and it fails. So don't do that. Have your tried and true recipes that you've used and you know you like, and do those things during the week. On the weekend, when you've got time to try out new recipes, do it then. And then you'll know, okay, this worked great, everybody loved it, it's good, I can put it into the rotation. Or, oh, this was a big flop and nobody liked it, so we're not going to put that in our rotation to eat. You want to get real with your food. That's the main thing. You want to get in touch with it. Cook as much as you can. If you will learn knife skills, learn how to use the blenders, learn how to use choppers, learn how to do those things, it helps you get more in touch with your food, and it also helps you learn more about the nutritional value in the ways that you cook food. You know, grow some of your own food in a garden. This time of year, especially if you have kids or you have grandkids, I think gardening is kind of a lost art that a lot of people don't do anymore, and you think, oh, I don't have time. Small planter gardens are great, and they don't take a lot of time. You got to water them, and you're going to have to, you know, if it's a planter garden, you typically don't have to weed it near as much, but you can still get tomatoes and cucumbers and squash, and those kinds of things grow really well in planters. And like I say, it does not take a lot of time. Now, a big old huge garden that you got to till and rake and hoe and do all those things, yeah, that takes a lot of time. But just little planter gardens, 2 or 3 tomato plants, a couple of squash plants, those things, they don't take a lot of time. So you get the value from it. It's cost savings, you know, all that. Also, you know, going to the farmer's market. I know the farmer's market's pretty big around here, so getting up on a Saturday morning and going and buying all those fruits and vegetables to last you through the week, you know, that's a good thing to do too. And during the summer months, the farmer's market is open during the week too, so you can go by in the mornings on your way to work. Don't diet, don't cleanse, and don't hop on the bandwagon of the moment. You'll see so much information out there about these supplements that you can take and drink, cleanses that you can do, and it's all fad stuff. None of it. You can't cleanse your blood. Your kidneys and your liver do that. Nothing you can eat, I don't care how much quinoa you eat, it will not cleanse your blood. Nothing you eat will cleanse your blood. There are teas and things that you can drink that, you know, say are going to give you a colon cleanse. Oh, it's going to give you a colon cleanse, all right. You're going to lose some weight, and it's going to be water weight, and it's going to be the severe diarrhea that you have from these teas and things that you do. They're not healthy, they're not effective, it's not a good sustainable way to try to lose weight. So don't jump on that bandwagon. And the same thing with diets. You'll see so many different, I love some of these. It's the HCG drop diets. There's all kinds, and it's almost funny to see it, but it's really the only way to lose weight and to really sustain the weight is to make a lifestyle change. You know, make healthier habits, healthier eating habits, exercise. You know, that's the number one most important thing. is to exercise too. So you want to limit your fat and choose healthy fats. I don't know if about a week ago did everybody see where the American Heart Association came out and said coconut oil is not good. It's not true. Dietitians have been saying this the whole time. You know, everybody was using coconut oil is great to wash your face with. Coconut's a great moisturizer, but it is not good internally. It is not good to drink it. It's not good to add it to food. It is a saturated fat. And a saturated fat causes heart disease. So anything you think about a saturated fat is anything that is hard at room temperature. Okay, so you think about lard. You think about Crisco. You think about coconut oil. It is all hard at room temperature. And so that's what it's going to do in your arteries. Think about it. If it's hard there, it's going to harden in your arteries. So stay away from it. You want to choose your monounsaturated and your polyunsaturated fats. Your monounsaturated are going to be olive, peanut, and canola oil. And then your polyunsaturated are corn, soybean, safflower, and sunflower oil. So those are your better choices. Coconut, palm kernel oil, meat lard, shortening, and margarine are they're the saturated fats, and that's what you want to stay away from.
Does margarine include the butter then?
Well, butter is a saturated fat as well. It is.
But I've always heard that butter is better for you than margarine.
They're both saturated fats. As far as one is a processed, margarine it's not a naturally occurring thing. They make it, whereas butter is naturally occurring. It's churned from milk. So it just depends if how you feel about additives and things like that. Margarine is going to have additives in it, whereas your butter is not. The thing is fat's fat no matter where it's at, and you should limit it. Overall, limiting the amount of fat in your diet is the main goal as well. So whether you choose margarine or you choose butter, they're both saturated fats. They're neither one going to do you any good. So add as little fat to anything as you can. And it's kind of like butter in a roll. Yeah, it tastes good. It makes a roll taste good. But can you do without it? Yeah, you can. You can learn other ways to flavor foods, and it's not adding that fat. If you're really wanting that overall lifestyle change, that's what you learn to do. And we say limit. We don't say you have to completely do without it. So if you want to put a little butter or a little margarine on your roll, that's okay. But don't be having those fried foods. Don't way over, put the butter or the margarine on the roll, just a little bit. So, and don't eat 10 rolls with 10 pats of butter on it. You got to think about those choices that you make. Okay, so this is the thing to remember, is that one meal is not going to make or break you. So it's easy to get on that bandwagon today. Have y'all seen the little cartoon? It says, I ate healthy all morning and I've not lost a pound. Well, one meal, like I say, one meal is not going to make you healthy, but one meal is also not going to break your health as well. So every meal is an opportunity to get your health on track. So say that you just blew it out of the water at breakfast, but here it is lunchtime. You can make that conscious choice. You know what? I'm going to eat good. I'm going to eat healthy and make a healthy choice. I'm going to have that salad, and I'm going to have a protein for my lunch. Or you ate a really healthy breakfast, and at lunch you needed that Chick-fil-A sandwich. It was calling your name and you had to have it. So one meal is not going to make or break you. But what you eat on a regular basis can keep you healthy, or it can contribute to your illness. So that's the thing, is to weigh it out. Is Chick-fil-A something that you're eating pretty frequently? You kind of have to weigh it out. If so, then you're consciously making that decision to be unhealthy. So, like I say, one meal is not going to make or break you, but think about every meal as an opportunity to either get on track or get off track. Punch up your fiber. Fiber has so many good health benefits. It helps with weight loss because fiber is what's going to give you that full feeling. When you eat something and you feel full, it's like, I can't eat another bite. Though that will help with weight loss. The foods that are going to be really high in fiber are going to be your fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains. Now, you can look at a label, and just because it says whole wheat does not mean it's a whole grain. The marketers can be very deceiving when it comes to that. Whole wheat does not mean that it is a good source of fiber, it's a whole grain. Look for the label to say whole grain. You want to pick fiber containing foods that have 5 grams or more of fiber. Now you can look at bread. You can pick up, that Roman meal bread that you can pick up, that orange bag of wheat bread. If you pick it up and look, it's got 1 gram of fiber per slice. So you think, oh, I'm doing really good, I'm eating wheat bread. When you pick up a loaf of white bread, the same thing, and flip it over and look, it's got 1 gram of fiber as well. So you've done nothing to improve your fiber intake. It's not a better bread. You want to find those breads that say whole grain on it, and when you flip that label over, it's going to have at least 2 to 5 grams of fiber per serving. So those are the bread choices. You can get those wheat berry breads that have got the crumbles and the seed looking things on the top, oats. Those are your better choices. They are going to be higher in fiber. So try to pick those foods that are going to be high fiber.
Those can be really high calorie too.
It is. Well, they're not any more higher than a regular piece of white bread. Depending on the serving size. Some of those wheat berry, those slices of bread, they're big. But here's the thing: calories is not something that you should be micromanaging. If you're eating a good whole grain bread, calorie-wise, it's not going to matter. If you're making those good choices, thinking about your My Plate, that's going to be what you want to do. You can look at calories and stuff, but it's really hard to count calories and try to stick to a calorie level. It's just not doable. We don't have time for it. You can sit and enter all you want to in MyPal and try to decide what to eat, what not to eat. But the main thing is to get on track of thinking about what's on your plate and serving sizes and limiting it, but making good healthy choices. So if you're going to have a sandwich, even if it is a little higher calorie, the fiber, everything else, that white bread may be lower calorie, but it's going to burn through you so quick, and an hour later you're going to be hungry. Whereas if you're eating that higher fiber food, it's going to keep you feeling full longer. So most likely you're going to eat something else to make up for the calorie difference if you're eating that white bread anyway. Choose quality over quantity. Like here's what I was saying, don't focus so much on the calories and fat. Instead, you want to choose foods that are whole and prepared, more simply. This is what I always want to say is no one ever got fat eating fruits and vegetables. There's just no way to overeat fruits and vegetables because they're very low calorie, they're extremely filling. So you think about, let's say a brownie for example. If you have a little square of a brownie or you have an apple, which one's going to make you feel fuller? The apple, with all that fiber, and it's going to last longer. It takes longer for it to digest in your body, whereas that brownie is going to run through you really quick, and 30 minutes later you're going to be hungry again. So choosing quality over quantity. You want to choose foods that are less processed. So if it comes from a box or a can, it's going to have less nutritional value. Anything fresh or frozen that you can, cook or eat is always going to be a better option for you. Getting back to kind of scratch cooking type things. I had a mom talk about the hamburger helpers and wanted to do that. You can make those same things, but make it on your own and make it really healthy, and it's about the same cost savings. Let's think about a beef stroganoff hamburger helper. So it's a noodle, it's a sauce, and it's the hamburger meat. The noodles that are in that are going to be a low quality, regular white pasta. But you could buy a whole grain pasta. Buy that whole wheat pasta that's higher in fiber, better for you. And then you can make a sauce, and you're going to make it with less salt in it. It's kind of a creamy white mushroom sauce. You can make your own one of those. Cream of mushroom soup, and you can get the reduced fat versions of those, and they even make a lower sodium version. And then, instead of doing ground beef like hamburger meat, you can do kind of round steak or something like that, or that you can chop up, and it's going to be lower in fat as well. So you can make your own hamburger helper instead of using something out of a box. It takes time to think about it, and it doesn't take any more time to prepare it because you're going to boil your noodles and cook your meat just like you would with the box. So, You want to cut the salt in your diet in half. That's one thing that has not ever changed is how sodium and our sodium intake really affects heart and heart disease. So throw that salt shaker away, don't use it. I always have people ask, well, sea salt, I use sea salt, that's better. It's still salt. It still has just as much sodium. So, they've convinced you that it's a better product, and it's not. Salt in general is not needed. There are so many other ways to get food salty or to get that salty flavor you're looking for. Vegetables, for example, like broccoli. People typically like broccoli that's steamed to have a little salty flavor to it. Lemon juice, lime juice, vinegar, they all react on your tongue the same way that salt does. So if you'll put that on the vegetable, it will give it that salty flavor that you're wanting without adding the sodium. And then don't add fat when you don't have to. Anytime that you don't have to, like I say, add butter to a roll, or if you're cooking mashed potatoes and you put a big old dollop of butter in it, you really don't have to do that. There's other ways, adding onion, garlic, things like that, lots of herbs and spices to give it flavor that without adding that sodium to it. And then drop the sugar sweetened drinks. There was a study that showed if you cut out sugar sweetened drinks for a year, on average you would lose 20 pounds. So if you started today and you never drank another sugar sweetened drink, whether it be Kool-Aid, Dr. Peppers, Cokes, whatever, if you cut it out completely, sweet tea, you would lose on average 20 pounds over a year. So that's an easy way. I mean, how many of us would love to drop 20 pounds quickly? It won't be quick, it'll take a year, but still, then you've cut out all those sweets. So cutting it out can help you shed those unwanted pounds. That's always the first thing if somebody comes to me about weight loss, I always ask, what you drink? It's usually it's sweet tea or Cokes. If you cut those out, that's the first step in weight loss. And just cutting it out is switching to the diet brand if that's what you want to do. That's the easiest and the simplest change that you can make. Sweeteners such as Splenda and stevia are great sweeteners. They have a taste that's similar to sugar. There used to be a lot of controversy about Sweet and Low, the kind of the NutraSweet things. The thing about that is there were no credible studies to show, okay, this came out a couple weeks ago too, about how Alzheimer's and sweetened like diet sodas, drinking diet sodas or NutraSweet caused Alzheimer's. When you read the study and you looked at what they did, it actually didn't. You are at increased risk for heart disease or for Alzheimer's just by being overweight or having heart disease or high blood pressure. So when they took those people that had that out of the study, there was no statistical significance to show that because these people drank Diet Cokes that they developed Alzheimer's. They developed Alzheimer's because they had high blood pressure, heart disease, and diabetes. Well, what caused that? Well, being overweight, being obese, drinking all those, sugar sweetened beverages. So when you take those out, there is no difference to show that drinking Diet Coke caused it.
Well, but I've also heard and read that diet drinks have all of the man-made chemicals and things in them that are not healthy, and they don't want pregnant women drinking.
Well, there is no recommendation for it to not. If you eat Hamburger Helper, it's going to have all those same preservatives in it. So
I've read to try to eat real and eat whole.
Yeah.
And if it's made in a plant,
it is.
don't eat it. If it's made from a plant, eat it.
Eat it, and that's true. Anything that you can cut out, but sugar's man-made as well. It's processed. And so they do add preservatives and things to it too. So, yeah. But Splenda and stevia are actually kind of they're not the same as NutraSweet. They're a different, but they are safe. They are safe. The studies do not show that they are unsafe in any way. And it does not contribute to increased Alzheimer's risk or anything like that. We have caused this increased risk for Alzheimer's. We've caused the increased risk of diabetes and heart disease all by what we eat. And so not Sweet and Low. There are so many other factors that cause it. Even limiting the amount of juice that you drink. You know, some people will say, oh, I don't drink soft drinks, I don't drink tea, all I drink is apple juice or orange juice. But it is calories. You're better off if you would eat an apple or you would eat an orange. I always say limit it to 6 ounces or less a day of juice. So if you're gonna have juice, have a 6-ounce glass and let that be it. Now, say you can water it down at your meal to make it stretch through your whole meal, because 6 ounces is only about that much. You can water it down, add water to it, but limit that fruit juice intake. And that goes for children too. A lot of times, parents will like to give kids juice instead of giving them water or something like that. And juice, we just need to limit juice in general. So that's it.
What do you think
questions?
about counting your sugar grams?
There's no, it's not going to result in weight loss. It's not going to do it. For weight loss, the main thing to do is watch what you eat. It's portion control and it's exercise. So you can sit and count calories and you can count sugar grams and do all that. You can count carbohydrate. Like a diabetic, I'm not going to tell them to count sugar grams. I'm going to tell them to count carbohydrate, because your sugar grams are where your carbohydrate count comes from. So it's not an effective way to lose weight. It's not a sustainable way to lose weight. You want to think about your plate, what you're eating, limit your portion sizes, make those good healthy choices. And like I'll hear people say, well, you shouldn't eat so much fruit because it's got more sugar in it than a vegetable. Doesn't really matter. It's not about the amount of sugar, it's about what you eat. And you can't overeat fruits and vegetables. You just can't. An apple, an entire big huge apple has about 60 calories in it. 60 calories is just negligible. You eat that big old apple, you're not going to be hungry an hour later, whereas if I eat that brownie, an hour later I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to want to eat something else. So it has to do with quality over quantity. So that's what I always stress